Okay, it's pretty common for a student to look at this and think it's an equation. It's not an equation, it's an expression, and what they want you to do is factor it. All right? Now, certainly, I realize that this just solves a problem that we solved. It was an equation. This is not an equation, it's not equal to any number. We are going to try to factor that guy. And one thing I like about this problem over here, one thing about the 37, there virtually is no choice to it. Now, when I say no choice, using finger numbers, and looking at this guy over here, I'm going to say the 4 could be, it could be 2 and 1, 2 and 2, or 4 and 1. And I'm thinking like 2 could be the only possibility at this point, but that's just not going to do it. There's nothing I can do about that. So what I'm going to say over here is that I can't think of any integer numbers that would produce this result for me. So my suspicion is it's quadratic in form. Now granted, what I'm going to do over here to factor this guy is I am going to use, make this an equation and try to find its roots by using a quadratic formula. It's kind of nightmarish, isn't it? So what do you get in the bottom? Twice the a. Well, 2 times 37 is going to be, let's see, 60, 74. Let's see, the opposite of the b, which is 80, plus or minus. This is always the trouble, that radicand. It's trouble. I mean, it's something that people look at and say, I wonder how I can do that without a calculator. You can do it. They're nasty numbers, though, by the way. It's going to be 80 squared. I'll do that later. Minus 4 times a, which is 37, times the c, which is minus 4. So put the 4, but I'll change the sign over here. So what I want to do is I want to look at it, and I'm seeing some things to reduce the amount of arithmetic I have to do. And I want to kind of write it on the side, by the way. So I'm seeing 80 times 80, and then I'm seeing plus 16 times 37. I'm going to factor out a 16 from that. It makes it easier for me, by the way. So 16 times 5 is 80. So I get 5 times 80 now, which is going to be 400. All right, let me repeat what I just did. Factor out a 16. 16 times 5 is 80. And 5 times 80 is going to be 400. And then plus 37. All right? So I realize that seems like like arithmetic that you may not enjoy doing. You might want to use a calculator to do it. I don't really recommend it, though. So let's write this down. 80 plus or minus. I'm looking at this, by the way. I certainly know the square root of 16 is 4. And then I'm left off the root of 437. I'm not going to struggle with 437, though. All right? So what's the bottom? 74. I'm going to reduce it. And when you get over there, x equals. I'm going to divide through by, let's see, 2. What do I get? I get 40 plus or minus 2 root 437. What goes on bottom? 37. I'm going to solve that. Now, some of the problems, if you go really slow, which I do sometimes, you might forget why you've done this, and it does happen. I'm actually going to solve for 0. And what do you get? 37x minus 40 minus plus 2 root 437, and that equals 0. I want to remind you the reason we did this. We were asked to factor something. We were asked to factor 37x squared minus 80x minus 4. We were asked to factor it, not solve an equation. So anyway, what's the factorization going to be? 37x minus 40 minus 2 root 437. I'm looking at this to do that, by the way. 37x minus 40 plus 2 root 437. It's a terrible looking factorization. It's also incorrect, by the way. Let me explain why it's incorrect. If I multiply it out, I'm going to get 37 squared. I don't want that. So I need to divide by 37, or multiply by 137. This is my result over here. All right? Let's look at the k, and let's see how we did. All right? So when you look at the k, I'm really looking at the key over here. So let's take a look. Let's see. 137th. I see that. I do see that. Let me make sure I see that. I do see that. Let's see if I see this over here. Yeah, we're good to go. Thank you.